Okay, good morning. It is, what day is it? A Monday. It's Monday and it is the 27th of March and we've had an absolutely amazing weekend of sunshine, and now it's very grey, although it's not raining, and it is forecast to rain the rest of the week. But it does make a change for it to be lovely for the weekend, doesn't it? Especially, I saw lots of nice photos on Facebook about the people having a nice time for Mother's Day, so that's great. So yes, I'm back on Hamish. Haven't managed to get out for a good couple of weeks. Either the weather was appalling or I've been extremely busy. So the slots of time that I had allocated, the weather was just awful. So it's not been great. So I'm lucky today because it's dry. It's very grey, but it's dry. So that's good. I've tried to buy harness again because last time I put my harness on, I put it on the wrong way around, which wasn't a very good idea. So I'm hoping that this is going to work better. Yeah, so what's gone on? Yeah, since the last 2 weeks, I've had two very good peer support groups. The last one was at Outside the Box, and it was extremely well attended, so thank you for everyone that came. And the topic was self-esteem and resilience, how to build that. And I talked a lot about growth mindset theory, and it's not a new theory. It's something, I think it was Carol Dweck brought about, but basically it was more of an education tool really, but it works quite well as a psychotherapy tool as well, or for parenting anyway. For parenting and for teachers it works extremely well, because the whole idea is that your praise, and I've talked about this before, that your praise is not just for praise sake, that you praise the work. So you don't go, oh, that's a fantastic picture, or that's brilliant, or you're brilliant at maths, or that you are acknowledging the work that's gone in to make that achievement, if that makes sense. So you shy away from saying somebody's gifted in an area, and if somebody is, because people are good at certain things, better at certain things than others, and it's because they enjoy doing it, and they put the work in. So it's acknowledging that, and not just saying you're just good at that, and it's because you're good at it. That's not because there's any work gone in, because there will have been. In something that you enjoy doing, when you very first started doing that, you won't have been very good at that. So you can think of that analogy in lots of ways. I can think about when I first started riding. I was pathetic. I was really quite a weak rider. But you learn, don't you? I was 7 years old. You're not going to be the same rider when you're 7 years old as you are when you're older, because you develop skills, you have lessons, you work hard, you put the hours in, and that's how you become better at riding. You don't sit on a horse and naturally just be able to ride. Although some people have that talent, do have a natural gift for it, they are not going to be amazing at it without some work. And that's what growth mindset theory is all about, really. And also, a big thing that I've talked about before is, he doesn't like this cow. Can you see him slowing down? This cow's giving him the eye. Oh. Good boy. Yeah, so he's not a very brave boy, are you? Good boy. Okay, so yeah. And he's molting loads. He's losing all his winter coat. And lots of white fluff everywhere at the moment. It's all molting. So where was I? The growth mindset theory. So some clients I'm working with at the moment that have anxiety, I'm working through a set of growth mindset questions as well. And the reason why I do that is because it gets you, and it's actually really good to do as an adult. Because I know once I had a question in a interview that completely stumped me, but actually it's a growth mindset theory question, and the question was, what mistake have you made and learned from? So obviously you can assimilate that to absolutely anything, either in your work career, in your life, generally, in a hobby, in a relationships, in absolutely anything. You can learn from mistakes, and if you don't learn from mistakes, then you haven't learned anything. But I remember being so stumped by that question because I'd never really thought about it like that. But of course, everything that we learn is from a mistake. So I thought that was a really good question, and I've noticed that that's what growth mindset theory is all about. It's all about getting children to acknowledge that learning is a process where you can't do everything perfectly the first time, and quite often clients I have find or people particularly low self-esteem are perfectionists and don't like making mistakes, and that is why they have low self-esteem, because they don't realise that the whole process of being better and getting better and being confident, that takes acknowledging mistakes and saying, oh, I did that, so next time I need to do this, instead of seeing it as something that you've done wrong, that's terrible. You just see it as a learning process. So you just you just see it as that, that's how life is. We make mistakes and we learn from them and we get better. And when you realise that's what life's about, then things are so much less stressful, because you're not stressed about getting things wrong or worrying about what people think of you, because you realise it's what everyone goes through. And it's a brilliant idea for acknowledging that. Obviously people who get stuck in the idea of they have to be perfect and get things right every time, that's where we get issues and anxiety, because it's that needing to acknowledge that actually it's okay to get things wrong, and this is normal life, really. I'm just waiting here because I saw a car come in, but it's taking its time. It's on its way. Can we see it? Does it come in? Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. That's it. Cute. Good boy. So that's growth mindset theory. So I was talking about that in my self-esteem and confidence session. And as I say, that was really well attended. It was great to see so many people there. And I'm sorry if you can't make these sessions. But I know I am going to... I've been invited to talk at the CDC, the Airedale CDC, Child Development Centre at Airedale Hospital, and Aware have asked me to go and speak about communication using visual timetables, that kind of thing. And that's something I've been told that people are interested in. If you want to know about anything else that I can do talks on, let me know. Or if you'd like me to talk somewhere on a different subject somewhere else, get in contact with me. Okay, and then a week before that we were at Cobbles and Clay, and the discussion was on defiance, how to deal with defiance, what it is, recognising it, and that was a great session as well. Lots of people there, sharing their experiences. This Wednesday I'm at Mirror Mirror, which is on Park Road in Bingley, and the talk this time is on empathy. So what empathy is, and how to teach empathy if you've got a child who's not very good at that. Now obviously children with ADHD, children with autism do find empathy tricky. It's not that they don't have emotions. Cute. Just waving at the camera. It's that understanding of emotions, and acknowledging the feelings of other people as something that they find tricky. And I've learned quite a lot about this in research. They've done a lot of neuroscience research on this using MRI scans, and noticing that there's a patch on the brain that doesn't fire up, but there are ways of getting new pathways, and that's the idea of neuroplasticity, is that it is possible to reconnect and refire those areas of the brain by teaching, by getting children to understand. And there's deliberation of whether they fully understand, but they can learn how to react. So if they're taught the meaning of certain emotions and how you're supposed to react in that situation, they can be taught those ways of learning, because obviously autism is not curable, and they say that ADD is something that children often grow out of, although I'm not sure about that. Some people are of the mind that it doesn't exist, and it could be down to something else that causes the behaviour. So there's lots of different thoughts on that, and it depends what you read as to what you believe, I suppose. It's good to have a balanced view on it. And I've said before in parents groups in the past that it can be very... Thank you. It can be really stressful to go through the whole process of going through an EHCP, and to not to have to go through all the negatives. Thank you. Because obviously going through an EHCP process, you are looking for all the things that your child cannot do in order to get support. So it is a very negative process. Oops, gone down. And that whole process can be really unpleasant, because all you want to do when you've got a child with difficulties is to focus on what they can do, not focus on what they can't do. So that process is not a nice thing to go through. And I know when you go through the first process, there is also a lot of pointing the finger at parenting. And that is understandable, because sometimes parenting is an issue, and we can all learn new skills, and actually going on parenting courses is really useful. But I must admit, when I'd gone through the process, I found that quite an affront that the behaviour of my child is down to me, and it wasn't anything other than my bad parenting, which I knew wasn't the case. And a lot of parents can get really upset by that, and that's understandable. But sometimes it is, and that's what the professionals have to do. And I think it's that understanding of trying not to take that personally. This is a process you have to go through. And actually going through some parenting classes might might be beneficial because it's helpful to learn about